These are Asclepias tuberosa, and I'm going to explain how to grow Asclepias plant seeds. You cannot plant them the regular way and have it work. I got my first Asclepias plants from a nursery. I ordered them and they had them shipped to their store, and then I was able to pick them up and I brought them home. And this was probably in the early summer that I got them. And by the early fall, they had already been growing these pod-like looking things, which later open up to reveal the seeds. Now, each seed is attached to a white, silky kind of like little thing. I kind of think of it like a parachute, except for that it's not really like a solid thing like a parachute. And what happens is when this pod opens up enough and the little white silky things open up enough, the wind comes along, or the breeze, and it brings them up into the air, and the little silky things float through the air like a parachute would glide through the air, and the seed is taken with it off to a remote location away from the plant until at such a point that the seed separates and it drops down. So when these pods came and they opened, I was gathering as much of these seeds as I could because I wanted to plant them where I wanted to plant them, and I thought the next year I'm going to have all of these Asclepias little forest plants everywhere. What happened though was none of the seeds that I planted grew at all, none of them. But the next spring, I started noticing Asclepias plants cropping up from what appeared to be like crack-like places. So I realized then what happened was where I planted them, I covered them with 1/8 of an inch of dirt, which is the normal instruction for planting a small seed, and none of them grew. Where nature put them, they fell into cracks, and they were not covered by anything, so the light of the day could still get to them, and then they grew, and I had them everywhere. Once I learned this, I began duplicating this technique by using something thin and flat, such as a blade of like a butter knife or something, so I can stick it in the dirt and create a little slit, kind of like a natural crack between dirt and cement would be. And I started dropping the seeds in there, and then voila, there you have it. Everything grew splendidly.
So what I'm doing is I'm dropping a couple down here in each hole. They're very long, skinny plants, so you can put many of them next to each other, and you can also put them next to other plants, in between other plants, because they do not take up much space at all. And so you kind of want to just put it down in a little crack, but you don't really want to cover them with the dirt. Okay? They really like to get stuck in cracks. In my earlier experiences, I even had some of them growing out of places like this between cement. Now, obviously, this is a little step between my sidewalk and the house, so I wouldn't really want one growing out of here because it would obstruct my walking. But sometimes you have areas like this where it's up against the side of a house or a wall where it wouldn't obstruct anything and they'd be a perfect place. So you can also drop them along inside cracks like this if it's in a place that you like.
So grow them, it's my recommendation. You will be happy that you did. Once I had my plants, the butterflies really started to come. I was not sure how they would find their way to my garden since I hadn't seen any before. I didn't know how they would know plants were there, but somehow they did. And not only did the monarchs come and use the Asclepias plants as their host plant, but other species of butterflies also came and used it as a nectar plant. And that is one of the rare things about the Asclepias plant with butterflies that's so wonderful, is that it is a host plant to one species, and it is also a nectar plant to many species of butterflies. And that I don't know if that's present in any other butterfly attracting plant. In addition, a lot of other butterfly attracting plants tend to grow much larger, not all of them, but most of them. So the Asclepias plant is an easy one to have around. You can grow it in pots anywhere in your yard. You can put it in between existing plants because it's so thin it will fit anywhere. So plant away and then astound and amaze your family and your friends when you invite them over. They're going to see how many beautiful butterflies you have floating around, and they're going to be amazed at you, and they're going to marvel and wonder how you've done it. And at some point you might want to let them in on your secret, and then you will be their hero. It's an amazing thing for you to experience firsthand and for children to experience. They can see the whole process of the butterflies and the laying of the eggs and the caterpillars and the emerging of the butterfly from the cocoon. The whole thing is wonderful for children and adults alike. And it is also good for the environment because native plants are disappearing because people don't usually prefer them over the more prettier types of plants they normally like to landscape with. And so butterfly populations have been dwindling. The monarch has also been having problems in its population, and if you know or not know, the monarchs make a great migration every year. And so you would be helping to also give the butterflies life and plants that they can thrive off of. So you would be helping the butterflies and the whole of nature, because butterflies are also a pollinator, and pollinators are extremely important to the cycle of life on the planet. And you would be having much beauty in your own personal surroundings. So plant Asclepias. Get other butterfly attracting plants if you want to. You can look them up by zone and put in butterfly attracting plants by your zone and see what you can find. And from time to time, I sell Asclepias seeds on my eBay account, and other people sell them as well. It's easy to get and they don't cost much.